Hello and welcome to another installment of MovieGoers Talk Show. Tonight, the movie that the entire geek community world has been anticipating for 3 years, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, will be discussed. Did the movie live up to the hype? Did it disappoint? Was Batfleck actually good? Was Eisenberg as shitty as we thought he might be? All will be addressed tonight. Now, I'll introduce your hosts, Ryan Nilsen and Jake, whose name I cannot even say.
That is Siegelbaum.
Hello, Moviegoer Talk fans. This is another installment of the Moviegoers Talk Show, and we got a big show today, guys. Now, first, I'm going to introduce my co-host. This is Jake Siegelbaum.
Yes, that's how you
Jake
pronounce it. Siegelbaum.
And we have a special guest today. This guy is a vocal performer. He can do a lot of awesome voices. He goes to Temple University. Welcome, Charles.
Thanks for having me, man.
I don't know your last name.
McNeil.
McNeil.
I can't pronounce
Charles
that.
McNeil. So, Charles, we're just gonna ask you a few questions, get to know you, just so the fans can understand who you are. So, you're born and raised in Philly.
I am West Philadelphia.
West Philly. Nice.
Where'd you spend most of your days?
Not on the playground, so understand that.
Okay. Anyway, so what are some of your favorite movies?
I'm a big fan of action, so
Big
and
action guy.
especially things that like we can't do normally. So, Chronicle would have to be somewhere on my
Ooh,
list.
Chronicle is
'cause
a
I
good
love
one.
Chronicle.
That's a good superhero
Absolutely.
pull movie
It's
there.
absolutely brilliant. Like the deviation, like between like knowing who you are and like teenage struggles, right, and showing like what happens if you get power. That touched me. I love.
And it's a
that
good
movie.
found footage movie. Which
is.
It's not common.
It was really good.
Yeah, really good found. That's a good one. That's a good pull there. We're gonna be talking about a big superhero movie today with Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. But Charles, let's get to some of these voices here. So you can do a lot of voices.
I can.
When did you figure out you could do some of these voices?
Elmo was my first voice, and that came pretty early in my life, I think. So
Oh, yeah?
it may have
It
been
was
like
16.
8th or ninth grade, and I was just like, just did it. It just kind of happened. It's Elmo. Today the letter of the day is M. And so it's just like a thing just for fun.
That's amazing.
And
It's
so
like,
I
I
just
can
got into
falsetto,
it.
but I don't think I can do it like to a T like you just did. Like, did you just study Sesame Street? Did you just like you watched it and you're just like, I'm gonna be this guy?
Absolutely not. I ended up. I mean, when I was young, I watched Sesame Street, and I think that was a big part.
Who didn't?
Just exactly right. So
Right,
just
right.
listening to the voices and be able to understand how the voices like go. After that, I got to the point to where I I think me and friends of mine were just doing things, and I think I just pushed my voice up there and like, hey, I can do the voice, and it
Yeah.
actually works out like pretty well for me.
Nice. Yeah. When I met Charles, Jake, I don't think I told you this yet. So we were at SAC, and his
You're going to have
dad
to explain
called.
to your viewers what that is.
Right.
At
Yeah, no
SAC.
one knows what that is. We were eating anyway. His dad called, and he answered. He was already doing an Elmo impression, and he answered the phone to Elmo, and he was just like, "Hi." What'd you do?
Hello, it's Elmo. Hello. And he had no idea what I was doing. And I didn't know it was him because at the time he was in Egypt. And so the number, I wasn't getting a number. I was getting a private number. So I didn't understand it was him calling. So
And you're like, Dad.
like, oh my God, I'm sorry, Dad.
Don't hang up.
What has college done to you?
Right. So wait. So are there any other guys you can do? Like I can do Peter Griffin, one sentence. That's it. I can't do like I can just do. Or no, not even Peter. It's
Swanson.
Joe Swanson. Yeah.
We get
Hey,
all the-
Peter.
Hey,
Peter.
Peter.
Lois, how are you doing? Stewie, get up here. Can you do any of the Family Guy voices? That
I
Seth MacFarlane.
can't do anyone but Herbert the Pervert. That might be the only voice I can do.
That one's the hardest, probably.
You just get really high up there and you just say, hey, Chris, come here for your medicine, boy.
Oh my God,
Got
that's
some
amazing.
nice warm apple pie for you.
You can just trigger that like that whistle.
Yeah, so it's just a really simple whistle. You're just really high up there in here.
Oh my God. I think any movie is improved with Herbert the Pervert.
Any movie.
I think Spotlight would have been improved with Herbert the Pervert. All right. Anyway, well, that's cool. So I guess we're gonna be hearing some of these voices throughout the podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Giggity.
I can't. I've always tried. It just doesn't work
This
for
doesn't
me.
work.
Any
Just takes more
Simpsons?
practice.
Any Simpsons voices?
Oh no, absolutely not. Absolutely
None.
not.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll hear a few throughout the podcast, but we're gonna start off with a little segment we like to call Trailer Park. Now, I don't know if you saw many of these trailers, Charles, but the trailers we're gonna be going over are the Lego Movie, War Dogs, Deepwater Horizon, and there was this trailer for the Star Wars Episode 7 Blu-ray that's coming out. It's coming out with like more deleted scenes and extended scenes and just stuff that wasn't in the movie. And the trailer for that was pretty crazy. But we're going to start with a Lego Batman. Now, this trailer actually played in front of Batman vs. Superman, so it's pretty relevant. Completely different tone. And it's Legos. Jake, what did you think of it?
Okay, so I recently saw the Lego Movie for the first time like 2-3 weeks ago. Was blown away by it. Loved, one of my favorite animated movies. And I think this trailer makes this movie seem better than the Lego Movie.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Hold up.
Because their iteration of Batman is just so hilarious.
It is good.
It is pretty funny. Charles, did you get a chance to see that trailer?
I did, but I didn't really pay attention to it as much. But I will say I am very happy to see Will Arnett as the voice of Batman.
Right. Did you see the Lego Movie?
I did. Absolutely.
Right. And he kind of stole the show.
Yes.
I'll say. Like he killed it. And yeah, it's funny because it was in front of this super serious, probably the most like dour movie that has Batman in it to date. I think so.
Do you think more than Dark Knight?
Well, yeah, because he kills in this one. And I don't know. I think it was a little more, I think it was sadder. I mean, I don't think all the events that take place in Dark Knight were less dour than all the events that take place in Batman vs. Superman, but I will just say, like, as Batman in general, like, it's probably the most serious, like, not most serious, it's probably the most, like, adult themed and sad version of Batman we've gotten. And you have this Lego Batman in front of it where he's like what is he eating? A lobster bisque or something like that Alfred left out for him. I'm pretty excited for it, but it's a year away, so that was a good little teaser, I thought, to put in front of this movie. Okay, so we're gonna go into War Dogs. Now this is a movie with Jonah Hill and Miles Teller. This movie is about a bunch of like kind of not Wall Street guys, but a bunch of people that make money off of wars. They're like arms dealers. Did you get a chance to see that one, Jake? You have not. Okay, well, basically, I thought it looked really good. It's from the director of The Hangover, Todd Phillips. This movie looked pretty funny, but like Jonah Hill, he's fat again, and he's Miles Teller.
Fat Jonah's back.
Lighting it up. Like Miles Teller has been great in everything he's been in, aside from Fantastic Four. But I don't even think that was his fault. And the dude's just like running with it. Like his career's taken off. This one looks really funny. It got like a Wolf of Wall Street vibe and a Hangover vibe, but looked like because they're making all this money by just selling arms in like Afghanistan and like guns and stuff like that. And it's pretty relevant today with like the big gun controversy. So I'm really excited for that one. That's coming out in like a month and a half. So I think that'll be a good like summer release. And the final one is Deepwater Horizon. So Deepwater Horizon, did you get a chance to see the trailer?
I have not either.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
sorry.
We got a really good lineup today. Anyway, Deepwater Horizon is about
you invited us.
It's about the BP oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. It stars Mark Wahlberg. It's directed by Peter Berg, who I'm not completely sold as a director yet. He's the guy who did Lone Survivor with Mark Wahlberg, which was a phenomenal movie, but he also did Battleship, which was an awful movie. So
Great game.
don't really know what to think of him yet, but this looks pretty cool. There was a really awesome part in the trailer where Mark Wahlberg's with his daughter right before he goes to work, right before she goes to school, and she's doing like a presentation on Mark Wahlberg's job. And she has this like can of soda, and it's shaken up, and she stabs like a straw through it. And then on top of the straw, she puts another thing in it, and basically it's like symbolizing like the oil coming out of the ground. And then it explodes, and it was kind of like in tangent with the actual oil rig, and it looked really good. I'm actually excited, and that has like a November release, so that's probably gunning for an Oscar. And then finally, we have the Star Wars Blu-ray extended deleted scenes. This I think played in front of the movie. I think the Star Wars Blu-ray trailer played in front of the movie. It's all over online. It's all over Twitter and stuff like that. I'm really excited for this because, of course, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and it looks like I've heard about a bunch of scenes. I've heard about a scene where Kylo Ren's on the Millennium Falcon.
What?
Yeah, where he's on the Millennium Falcon. It was taken out of the movie. I heard of another one where we've all seen the movie, right? Oh my goodness, Charles. Oh my god.
I'm a little late to the show. I'm sorry.
Well, okay, so
Darth Vader's his dad.
towards the end where Finn and Rey like fight Kylo Ren in the snow, and it kind of goes from that like facility at the Starkiller base to that, and they just kind of like appear outside. There wasn't like a big transition there. It felt like they didn't show how they got outside.
Yeah.
They just kind of appeared. So they deleted a scene that was gonna be a speeder chase in the snow in the woods.
Like Endor speeders?
Yeah, there's gonna be like they're gonna have a speeder chase, and then they were gonna like crash or something like that, and that's where they meet up with like Kylo Ren. That's also where he was gonna be on the Falcon. Yeah, looked really cool, right? But I think I don't know. From what I heard, it like didn't fit in with the story, and it like took away from what just happened before.
This sounds awesome, and I want to see it, but it does seem just like they're trying to spoon feed nostalgia.
Well,
It's not necessarily
right. And what happens
driving the
right
plot.
before that? They probably didn't want to
Yeah,
diminish
yeah.
it, like a big action scene. They want to keep the emotion. So I'm excited to see all that.
Oh,
because,
absolutely.
Yeah, there's not a lot of like cool deleted Star Wars scenes that we've been able to see.
There's actually a lot of uncool added scenes.
Right. Yeah. Okay, well, that's it for the trailer park. So now we're going to get into the big discussion today. We're going to get into Batman vs. Superman.
Woo.
And we're going to start out with just talking about our expectations for this movie. Like, we all saw Man of Steel. And, Charles, what did you think of Man of Steel?
As a person just watching the movie, I enjoyed Man of Steel. Okay, I thought it was a good time.
Right.
The acting could have been stronger.
For who
overall.
in particular?
I've never seen Henry Cavill as a major actor.
I hadn't seen him in anything before Man of Steel.
He was in Immortals.
Oh, that's right.
He was in Immortals. I think he was Perseus. He was Perseus, main character.
I don't remember that movie.
I think his
that
name
well.
was Perseus. I enjoyed.
I think he was.
But
You know, he didn't have a lot. He didn't have a lot of time though. Like they didn't actually give him a lot to do in that movie. So I wasn't like, I didn't really like kind of fault his acting. He just didn't have a lot to do. We didn't really get to know Superman,
yeah,
like him as an actor like that well.
Yeah.
We it was all about his character in that movie, but he just didn't get the opportunity. I don't think so. I'll agree with that. I thought Michael Shannon as Zod was fantastic,
he was great. Oh no, he was great.
and I wasn't really sold on Lois Lane in Man of Steel, but I'm in the minority. I love Man of Steel.
Who played Lois Lane? Was it Amy Adams?
Amy Adams.
Amy
yeah.
Adams. I like her.
I do too.
But her role, always never struck me as like the best, like most portrayal of Lois Lane.
Right. I don't remember who played her in Superman Returns, but she's kind of like a one-note character. She doesn't have a lot to do.
She's there for a purpose, and they use her for the purpose in each movie.
Right.
It's just how they go.
Jake, you just saw Man of Steel like a month ago. What did you think of it?
I thought it was a very like average superhero movie. Like nothing really screamed that was like necessarily too bad about it, but there's nothing like too amazing.
Yeah, nothing like amazeballs.
Yeah, it was like a typical superhero movie.
Well, you're both crazy because this movie's amazing. I absolutely love it.
Look, I thought it was a good movie.
It's fine. I absolutely loved it because I personally, before Man of Steel, I didn't think Superman was an interesting character. I just thought he was like, I thought he was cheap. I thought, oh, he's invincible aside from kryptonite. Like, I think what they did in that movie was really cool and different from a lot of other Zack Snyder movies like 300 and Watchmen, where he told a coherent story, and he also brought Superman down to earth, literally. Like they kind of explain how he had his powers, which that might take away from like the fun of his character, but like, oh, it's the sun, and like he didn't have these powers on Krypton. He got them on Earth because like, I don't know, the gravity's different. They had some explanations, and judging from like the trailers for Man of Steel and just the way it was done, it had like a Christopher Nolan vibe through it. I won't say it was a Christopher Nolan movie, but it had a vibe. Like it had a direction it was going, and I think it told like a good story. I bought the villain. I thought they did a great job of introducing him, and people's biggest complaint about Man of Steel was that action at the very end of the movie and how many people get like taken out. There's so much destruction, so much of that going on, and what?
I mean, that's what happens.
Right,
You're
yeah.
looking at a lot of movies, and it always happens. It always seems to happen.
Well, also when you have two gods duking it out in a
Pretty
city.
much, yeah. Like people who like supernatural ass powers. They just
and one's a general, and he's been Superman for a day. Yeah, and then people complain that he kills Zod. So I'm like, well, he literally says to him, "I'm gonna do like whatever it takes. I'm gonna kill everyone." He literally says that. Yeah.
I will say that I do enjoy seeing Superman go through in the beginning stages of developing his powers.
Right.
How he freaks out to them. How he tries to how he can't control them yet.
When he was a kid.
And yeah, I like
the flashbacks.
I will say that was my favorite part of the movie.
The
was, like,
flashbacks.
the whole flashbacks.
That was your favorite part?
Well, not specifically, just like throughout the whole thing. I think that's what they did best.
I like seeing that.
It was they developed him well. And I think the biggest thing with Man of Steel, again, why a lot of people didn't like him, they had like 5 trailers for that movie, And after you see 5 trailers, you kind of paint a picture of what you want to see. Like, I think a lot of people went to Man of Steel with a story in their mind, and then when it didn't play out the way they thought it was going to play out, people thought that was weird. Like, right after the stuff on Krypton, it cuts to him on a boat, and then it does flashbacks, where I think a lot of people were expecting it to be like, oh, him as a kid, growing up, and then he's old, instead of the flashbacks. So anyway, Man of Steel was kind of like, you either liked it or you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
It was all over the place, like critic-wise.
I mean, he does look like Superman. He's a good portrayal of Superman. We can't, the jawline, the cheekbones, you got all the little aspects there for the Superman.
Yeah, I think
character.
he is good. And then, Comic-Con after Man of Steel, Zack Snyder announces they're going to have Batman vs. Superman. And he says it's going to come out summer of 2015, and then I think like a year later they pushed it back to 2016, and there was just all this stuff, all these rumors going into Batman vs. Superman, and there was a lot of hype. I don't think there was as much hype as Man of Steel or Star Wars, but there was a lot of hype going into this movie. Everyone was looking forward to it, and like Charles said in the opening monologue, this is like one of the most anticipated movies of the year for everyone, geek culture. So we're going to get into the movie right now. So Charles, I'll go to you first. What did you think of the movie? What was your general first impression of the movie?
Well, I was a bit disappointed in how the movie went. I'm not going to lie. There were good parts. Then there were the bad parts.
Yes.
Right, because, and this movie has gotten a lot of different critiques.
Right.
And so there's some that say it's great, some that say it's god awful. I think on Rotten Tomatoes, I think it has only 35.
Yeah, it's in the 30s, I think.
Oh my goodness.
Which isn't the end all be all if something's awful.
But
that's not necessarily good.
It really is. It's not the best at all. It isn't. And I mean, what I liked about the movie, Ben Affleck was a good Batman. I enjoyed him as Batman. I have my own problem with Ben Affleck. I've always imagined him as this man with this light voice.
Oh, really?
I mean, yeah. I mean, like you see, like Gone Girl. I mean, he's a big guy. He's like
he got huge for this role.
Yeah, he's like 6'2".
He is the tallest Batman, I think.
And but he also isn't the his voice isn't like the down here voice. It's more of like the up here lighter voice. Like it's just him. I remember him from younger roles, and he also in Prince of Egypt. He was like no Joseph King of Dreams. He was Joseph. It's an old movie by DreamWorks.
Really?
About Joseph.
Never
in the
seen that
Bible. He was the voice of Joseph, and I was surprised. Like he always had this lighter voice in my head to me, and even watching movies, I've always seen him as a person with a lighter voice. But hearing him in this movie, he kind of seemed like he just had to like bring it down just a little bit.
And they also had the voice.
Oh
modifier.
Yeah, the voice modifier for when he was in the Batman suit, which was actually like an awesome suit. I enjoyed seeing that.
Batman as a franchise long enough time to figure that one out.
Yeah.
So we'll
go you next, Jake.
And all that. Honestly, it was okay.
That was alright.
Like
I saw it with Jake.
I was entertained through it all. Obviously, there are like some points we'll get into later that are like really lazy or weird or bad, but like I was entertained. I didn't really have much investment into it to begin with.
Right.
So that was fine.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot to process. Like, so much happened in the movie.
True.
I was telling Jake right when it let out. It's like, wow, so much happened in that movie. I gotta like sit back and think about it. And then I worked at a movie theater. I worked at like a dine-in movie theater, so I was a server over the weekend. I got to like kind of watch it a few more times and relive a few of the scenes, and I think I have developed my opinion a lot better than I had right when I walked out the first time. And like the biggest thing I will say is like there's a lot of potential, and I think there's some very good parts to the movie, and there's some very bad parts. But like the good parts are really good, and the bad parts are awful. So with all that being said, now let's just get into it, guys. So let's just talk about certain parts of the movie. I'm gonna start with some criticisms. I'm not gonna like full out bash it, but I'll start with like one brief criticism. It was a sloppy directed ending of a movie. Like the last 2/3 were very sloppy, I thought. Because the beginning opens up, I thought, in a really good way. I liked how they did, similar to what Incredible Hulk did, where they just had Batman's origin in the credits. So we see that, I'm like, sure. And then it cuts to him at the end of Man of Steel, which, was everyone's big complaint. Oh my God, there's so much destruction. And then you see, Batman, that affected Batman. Like his building went down. One of his like good friend employees died, and another one of his employees were paralyzed. So like you could see like there were consequences to that event.
Are we giving spoilers?
Oh yeah, no. Oh, by the way, we didn't do a spoiler warning. This is a full-out spoiler review of Batman vs Superman. So if you haven't seen the movie, do not continue. But if you have seen it, we're going full spoiler. So spoiler alert. We need like a little audio thing. It's like
spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert.
Get that soundbite. We're gonna put that in
every episode.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, so they had that great opening with Batman. I thought that was like really well focused. It was just, it was a beautifully well done scene. And you see him pissed, and then it fades with him, that little girl. He's like, "Where's your mom?" And she's like, "Oh, that building that just like fell down." Like really emotional, good opening to a movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
I
then
agree
from
with you
there
so far.
on, what's that?
I agree with you so far.
From there on out, though, the way this movie was edited was just kind of all over the place. Like it went, they'd have a scene, and then it'd be like, "Okay, we got this, and now it's over here, and now it's over here," and we're going to have Lois Lane in a bathtub, and then we're going to go to
no, that scene has to stay.
Yeah, that scene has to stay. But like, they just didn't. The storytelling was all over the place. What did you think, Charles?
I would have to agree with you on that.
You like the opening?
Lord, no.
You did not like the opening.
All right, give me this. It just did not interest me seeing him run into the rubbish. Firstly, it didn't look like he was even like I gotta go, I gotta get into the rubbish. No, it seemed like it doesn't really like catch me like, oh my God, like this is serious. His running, I'm sorry, just like I just critiqued the crap out of this. Just looking at his body, if you ask, he ran. I was just like, okay, run, yeah, run.
See, I like that because like everyone's running away and Batman's running into the crash. Like that's something Batman would do.
But it seems like slow. It doesn't seem like he's like gone. It just seems like a little bit like, like half-assed running, just to me. I think it's the camera. They had to make it so that he wasn't running super fast, so the camera angle and lighting would help look as though he was booking it. But
so you didn't like it because of his running?
Yeah.
Okay, but did you get like the feel that
understood?
He kind of like developed his preconceived like hate for Superman?
Yes,
I thought
and
that
that's
was
very
actually
clear.
really well
What's that, Jake?
I thought it was really well done.
Yeah. Okay. So you didn't particularly like his running. Did you like?
I had no problem with his running. I'm gonna go on record and saying
Okay,
that.
Jacob.
I thought you could maybe categorize it as a fast jog, but it was good nonetheless.
I mean, but if a building is like coming down, I
He's
want
in a
to
suit.
fast jogging.
yeah, he's in a suit.
I've run in the suit before. Okay,
That's
that's not
where
the
buildings. No, let's stay on this topic.
Let's stay on this. Yeah, we gotta get down to this running. Okay, so what else? Was there something very particular that you did not like about the movie? What's a fault? A con?
I have notes. The vibe.
Give us one of them real quick.
I didn't like the whole. I see where it can go with Batman being in his own dilemma. Like, I'm leaving, because of all that's happened. And then after this is spoiler, yes.
Yeah,
awesome. After Lex blows up the trial,
right?
It just destroys the shit out of the building,
right?
And Batman is there, and he leaves because he feels as though he should have stopped it. He should have saved everyone there. He leaves, and then afterwards, he comes back. That
talking about Batman?
No, I'm sorry. I meant Superman.
Superman.
That's
okay.
my fault. I'm sorry.
You're good.
When he leaves and then he comes back, and that kind of just, I I kind of didn't like it because I understand the internal struggle. Like, yes, a lot of people died because you were in the room.
And it made it look like it was him.
And it had to make it look like, he can't protect us. Like, this is the man, like, you've all depended on. And he left. He just left. It's kind of a, because this happened, obviously there's some other forces at play, and you leaving is not going to help, in any type of way.
Right.
You've saved people. You have. You've stopped an entire planet from being
Destroyed.
terraforming.
Terraformed, right.
And so, like, this is the whole, like, mindset. It's like, oh, I have to go, but you are in a position where you are responsible for many people. You have a lot of power, and you have to protect. Like, this is your position, and you have to deal with it because this is your position.
So you didn't like that he just like left and he went to like Lois Lane, and then
He went to her left,
Is
went
that
to
when-
see his mother, went to the mountains,
So
Right.
Kevin
Cleared his
Costner.
head. And I mean, people do need, like, time to, like, clear their head and understand, like, exactly what they mean, but I kind of didn't like it. It's like, I'm back. He's like, I left because I'm Superman. He's like, wait, I'm back because I'm Superman. That's the kind of vibe I got from it.
And that was interesting because another critique I have of this movie, it felt like 3 movies in one. There was the Batman vs Superman, there was the Dawn of Justice, and then I even think they had a third part in there, which was like another Superman movie. Which, like you were just saying, I think after that building exploded, which I love that scene. That's another great
Oh
scene.
my
in this
gosh,
movie.
it caught me so off
Yeah,
guard.
I enjoyed that.
What was it,
scene.
Granny? What's
It was something.
Granny Oma's?
Granny's peach tea.
Granny's
Yeah.
peach tea. That was great because it called back to that scene earlier with Lex Luthor, and it blew up. I didn't see that coming.
I didn't see that coming at all
Like,
either.
fantastic scene. Love that. One of my favorite scenes in the movie. But then, he goes soul searching, like, and then they ask the question, does the world need, or does there need to be a Superman? That question could be an entire movie on its own, and I feel like they just kind of throw it out there and they don't do anything with it. And that's why I think was the common theme of this movie. There were so many things they threw out there, great ideas, great story points, but they just don't follow through with them, or they just don't do them to the best of the ability or the best that they could have been. So, like, that was certainly one I agree with you. Like, they didn't really follow through with the question, does there have to be a Superman right after that scene? Jake, what is one of your big critiques?
Okay, so it definitely was at least 5 or 10 different movies in one. But
Right.
what you were saying earlier, well, this isn't actually a critique, but what you were saying earlier with the pacing, I kind of, okay, no, it wasn't good, but at times it was, because it's called Batman vs. Superman. We're all waiting for them to fight throughout
Right.
the whole thing. And it has these short scenes, like, back and forth between them and Lex and everything. It kind of, like, builds up to it, which I thought was actually kind of well done, and at least in the beginning. Like, we have Batman getting more pissed at Superman.
Right.
The world getting pissed at Superman. Superman getting pissed at Superman. And, like, everything leading up to this, like, point, which I thought that was actually done well.
Okay.
That being said, you were right. It's at least 3 or 4 movies in itself.
Yeah.
Like, this could have been, like, 2 Superman movies before.
Yeah, you're absolutely. Yeah, there could have been another one. And I understand like DC's playing catch up with Marvel. Marvel's got 13 movies. They've had 13 since 2008. 13. Well, DC's this is their second one, and yeah, they've taken their time. It took 2.5 years to get a sequel to Man of Steel, and now they're now putting them out there. So they really had to like play catch up and set up a lot of stuff here. But that's where my big criticism came in. And I think you like this part, Charles, where they were introducing all the other superheroes, which looked cool.
The email.
Oh my
Absolutely
god. Okay, so
amazing.
you're in Hollywood, right?
Oh.
You got all these great writers working on this huge film. Like, this is Warner Brothers' biggest film of the year.
This is big.
Easily. This has been in the pipeline forever. This is one of the biggest movies of all time. And you're trying to set up a universe, right? So you do it through a goddamn email?
With an attachment.
Email. With an attachment. And, like, I mean, okay, so
I mean, it's the files. They hacked. They hacked.
They
into
hacked
the
Lex
system.
Luthor's system, and he forwarded them to Wonder Woman, right?
I'm just going to stop. That was one of the small things that really bothered me. Everything with Batman's technology just described what it was saying. Like, decrypting code, 1%, 2%, or, like,
That
stealing
didn't
data,
bother me.
5%. Like, every piece
That-
of
I think
technology.
that's just tech. I'm
And it's
talking
just
about, like,
cheesy.
this. Okay, so he hacks that Lex Luthor stuff, right?
By clicking a button.
That means, and then he forwards the email to her, and there's those symbols. That means someone at LexCorp took time out of their day to make logos for these email files with these guys. Like someone went out of their way and was like, I'm going to make this one a lightning bolt. I'm going to make this one like a little half triangle. Like, what? That made no sense at all. And it was literally like, oh, here, I'm going to forward this email. Now you play 4 mini trailers. I thought that was so lazy. Like, it was just pathetic. Like, they didn't need to do that. You know what they could have done? This would have been perfect. There's that scene where Batman breaks it. They don't show it, but Batman breaks into LexCorp and he steals the kryptonite or whatever. They don't show that happening, but like Lex Luthor goes in. There's like a little batarang, like where the stuff would have been. So, okay, this is how you fix that scene, right? You show Batman breaking in. You show him kicking some ass, and then maybe he stumbles across like some files there, and that's where he sees like those other beings. That's where he sees footage of the Flash and Cyborg. Wouldn't that have been way better?
So you're okay with the footage, just not the way it was delivered?
Okay, I don't want the logos on the files. Like, but maybe if he's looking for, he breaks into their building. He's looking for the kryptonite, and I don't know, maybe on like some desktop or something. They could have written that in there somewhere where he stumbles across. Maybe not even footage, like just a file that has like a name on it. Like Barry Allen, and then it says like, oh, this guy was found at like a convenience, I don't know, like stuff like that. But it would have been better. It would have flowed into the story. It would have been just so random. Like, here's an email, play 4 mini trailers. Let's get back to the story. Again, it was like one of those random scenes that had nothing to do with the story.
It had to set. I mean, it's all a setup for Justice League. So it
wasn't subtle, you know.
I understand that it wasn't at all. It was pretty blatant. It was just bam, bam, right in your face.
Right.
Wonder Woman. How she got she saw the files and everything.
Oh, and the picture of her from World War
Exactly.
I, right?
Which
like that was cool. A picture, that was fine.
Okay, yeah.
But give me something. Okay.
Keep going.
That exists. The very fact that exists. I don't know why this got to me, but she's that means she's been here. Okay.
Right. For over 100
She
years.
showed her power.
Right.
And it's not documented anywhere. So that she's not shown. That kind of got me. I was like, and then in the end, where she's just like, I left humanity 100 years ago, and I was like, what?
well, I kind of liked how they explained that. I mean, it's similar to what they did with Captain America. Like he fought in World War II or whatever, and I agree. Like, how did no one document that she was there? And like that's something I actually didn't have to have answered in this movie, because we know there's a Wonder Woman movie coming next year with who's the guy from Star Trek? I'm totally blanking. Who's in that photo? Who?
New Star Trek?
The new Star Trek. The guy who was in the photo with her.
Couldn't give it to you.
Completely forgetting. Sorry. Anyway, like that's something I didn't need answered. But that was kind of like well introduced. Like, oh, they had a little picture of her from there. Like, okay, that's subtle enough. But then it has, here's 4 trailers attached to that picture.
See, with the email, I did like the picture, but the email should have stopped there.
Yeah, exactly.
But what you were saying of like Batman stumbling upon the files at LexCorp, that would still be, it would be the same thing. I think what they should have done, since there was like a clusterfuck of things going on in this movie,
Right.
they could have just like, they're always watching the news. Every scene, someone's watching the news of someone else. They could have just had like, even like on a scroll on the bottom, say like something happened where it's like someone really fast, like just they could have done it so subtle, because people are looking for it. They know there's going to be a Justice League. You don't have to like spoon feed it to them. They could do like maybe one line of dialogue here saying there was a weird happening somewhere or whatever with the other people. They didn't need to blatantly say, oh, here are the 4 we know. They could have said something in the ocean was doing something. Boom.
I just haven't seen something so blatant. An email. This is like a multi-million-dollar movie.
Opportunity to make it very subtle, and they went the exact opposite direction.
Like,
I mean, they had other things to focus on during the movie. Like, that
but
makes sense.
email? I don't know. Like that. Like you just see like a Marvel movie do it.
You could even add it into like one of the, I can't remember
Like
what
a
the
quick line of
paper's called.
dialogue. Like in Winter
What's the
Soldier,
paper
they
he works at?
they capture an agent of Shield, and he's like, we have files on all you guys, and he like lists off a bunch of names, and he like subtly says like Hugo Strange, who's Doctor Strange, who they haven't mentioned at all, but he's just like a name. Like that's all you had to do. And then the movie's coming out this year. They haven't had any. They didn't have to put a.
They could have
trailer
had
in
like
it.
Lawrence Fishburne, like one line, like he's always doing his headlines every time he talks.
Right.
He could say like, probably not Clark since he was assigned sports, but like some other guy, like there's a weird thing in the ocean, like across the bay or whatever. Go investigate.
Ooh, or like it could have been like a random like background TV, like an oil spill,
Oh,
and
yeah.
just to say like Aquaman, like they say
Something saved an
like,
oil spill.
like something
Unexplained.
unexplained phenomenon, like it
Yeah,
just
right.
happened.
All it
like
takes
that would
is,
happen, or like the video footage of no, not that, but the Flash. Remember how
Right.
they show Barry Allen in the store, played by Ezra Miller, who I think I will enjoy Ezra Miller. I enjoy him as an actor. Him like actually just running over and stopping the guy with the gun, coming back to look at his milk or whatever he has. Right. And but like having that on, like the news or something, right? Or like maybe just a picture, just like a quick flash, so it's blurry, so all they have is a picture and say like this happened in the store. They'll tell them, like, we have, like,
Anything would have been better than what they did, basically. I think that was just such a weak part of the movie for me. And then another weak part was, again, with the sloppiness. Like this movie was reeking so much potential. Like there were so many cool things about it that we're gonna get into later. But like when you have the fight between Batman and Superman happening, it's looking awesome. And they took his mom, they took Martha, and he goes to meet her. Like all they had to say was Bruce. I was rewatching it in the theater over the weekend, and like Superman flies down. He's like, Bruce, you have to talk to me. And he's like, I'm not talking to you. And he's like, you got to. They're gonna. And then he gets like frozen. I'm like, just have a if they could have had a quick conversation.
It could have missed all. Yeah, I'm sorry.
The fight wasn't needed,
All of it could have just been avoided. Like, go ahead, Jacob.
Well, I remember like after we saw it, that was my biggest complaint. It's that same cliche. It's like, wait, you don't understand, and then they go off on a 20-minute tangent, beating the shit out of each other. When it's just like, Martha. Oh, wait a minute. I should have let you say a fucking sentence first.
And that was like a cool. That's a cool thing.
No, it like
with
the name, like the connection with Batman.
No,
it
no,
makes
no,
sense.
no.
I never thought of that before. I never thought of that mother connection.
I think it makes sense for the character because
Of course.
that's his most tragic thing, and it's his moment where he realizes that Superman has a mom too.
But I mean, oh my god,
It's just the fashion,
oh no, it was done awful.
If they fought earlier, you know that random scene where Batman is following some guys in the Batmobile and then he hits Superman.
Hold on, killing everyone. Just
right, he's
throw
killing
it out there.
everyone.
Killing everybody.
And he hits Superman. First of all, Superman just stopped him from taking out criminals, and then he has to get out, and then he's just like, the Bat's dead, bury it. I'm like, okay. I don't know exactly why you're telling him to do that, but okay. And then and then he walks away. I think they could have had a fight or some kind of quarrel before the whole thing with his mom being taken. They could have had a big, awesome, badass fight, right? And then after that, they do the connection with the moms. And that I thought would have been a really good way to unite them. They still did the connection with the moms to unite them, but if they already had a fight before the one we saw, and then they're about to duke it out again, right? And then they have the mom conversation, and that unites them. That would have been better, I think, right?
You enjoy the connection with the mothers.
Right.
I think the connection was good, but it was, obviously done in the worst possible way.
It's like there were so many good ideas that just weren't executed right, I don't think.
I mean, the fights
were amazing.
Were great. I'm not gonna lie.
Let's get into some positives. So yeah, let's talk about the fights.
All right. So the fight. So let's just say the time when Batman and Superman are fighting now, and he shoots the kryptonite thing at him and turns to gas.
God, yeah.
And so he just is wailing on Superman.
Right.
And then the scene where he's
he's
down and he picks him up by his neck and holds him over his shoulder.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my! It's like you're seeing him like you're carrying a dead god.
Right.
Like that's what you're supposed to think.
Or
like,
when he's hitting his face
shit.
against the wall and his face is like moving back and forth, and slowly he's getting his power back, so like his head's like moving a little less, and then it's just hitting him, and
he
he's
puts the
crap.
grappling hook on him and just drags him across the rubble.
Drags him across and then
Yeah.
like just
Throws him at the wall.
Rolls him around
It
in
was
circles.
so badass.
Oh my
The
goodness.
fights were amazing, but like I found myself caring about the fights just because they looked awesome. Like I actually didn't care about the fights because of the emotional buildup or the stakes. I only cared about them because they looked good, which I thought was a problem to me. They just looked so awesome that I was like, all right, I'll watch them. I think they're fun. But all of them were great. Like, of course, the Batman vs Superman was great. It took a little while to get there, but that fight was awesome. And then I'll even say, let's get into a Doomsday. The fight with Doomsday was awesome. Again, I don't think the way that he was made was
all right. There
as
we go.
good as
That's
it
my
could have
next
been.
question.
But the fight was amazing. So let's get So what about how he was made?
Looked weird as hell. Let's just say that straight up.
Yeah, he did.
He could have been a lot better looking.
I thought he was beautiful.
He looked better than he did in the trailer. That showed everything. Oh boy.
Dead air.
He looked better. Oh my god, the trailer. You know, it was our worst fear, and it's Jake's worst fear, is the whole thing with the trailer showing everything.
Trailers are the worst thing.
That second trailer showed everything, and you know, it did tell the whole story. Aside from the very ending where he dies, but it showed everything, and that sucks. Like, how does that trailer get approved at Warner Brothers?
Well, they're trying to sell it. They try to put all the coolest parts in the trailer, and they end up putting up the movie.
2 more trailers came out after that, though, that were equally, well, they were better than that one, and they were just like Superman and Batman themed. Like, why did you have to show us that? I don't know. I feel like I would have cared a bit more about those end scenes, even though I did like them, more than I did if I hadn't known that was coming. You know.
Can we all understand? I'm gonna jump back really quickly from Doomsday. Batman was prepared to kill Superman. Oh, most definitely prepared to kill him. And simply because of him saying Martha, like my mother. And then Batman, you know, has this little flashback because he's mentally deranged about his mother getting shot when he was like a kid. And I'm just like, it just struck me. Like, I'm sorry. It was like, you're thinking of it like great, but it was like that's the reason why you're working together now. That's what killed me. But also, I take little notes during the movie and like kind of like summarizing the scene in like a sentence, like what people would say.
Like it went on us.
So it's like, this is like Superman trying to explain to Batman what's happening. He's like, this is what Lex wanted us to do. And Batman's like, I won't listen to you.
I know, and he's like, you gotta listen to me.
I won't listen to you.
And they just fight. Like, they could have had a conversation like we were saying earlier.
It's like that romantic comedy trope where it's like, it's not what it looks like, and then they walk out, and the entire movie happens because of that.
Right, I know. Man.
Speaking of Lex Luthor,
Let's talk about Lex Luthor.
Jesse Eisenberg. All right, now
what'd you think?
Jesse, he's a great actor, and I love him I've always loved him as an actor, especially in
Social Network.
The Social Network. I liked how he portrayed.
He's a talented guy.
It was pretty great.
And there was some backlash when he was cast.
It was. And
what'd you think of his performance? Didn't like it.
I like the guy, but when it came to him showing as an evil mastermind as a movie, he was not up to it. I'm sorry.
I had some at first when I was walking out the theater, I was like, I don't know what I felt about his performance, because he had moments where like he got me, like, you know, he was a little evil, like that scene where he's talking with the senator at his home, and he's like, devils don't come from the hell beneath us, they come from the sky.
Talking about the picture should be upside down.
And the picture should be upside. I'm like, okay, that was a good scene, but then there's scenes where like the goddamn Jolly Rancher.
Stop ranting.
He puts the Jolly Rancher in the government official's mouth. What?
It's Jerry.
What?
It licks his fingers.
Oh my god, just so weird. Like, he was all over the place. Like, oh my god. And you were making the Joker comparison. I didn't see that at all.
I wasn't making the Joker. I was saying like he was trying to be like a Joker, but not a good one. Like, he was trying to be that like
I can see that
fucked up personality, doing it just for the hell of it kind of thing. It didn't come out good, but like,
I don't know. Like, he just, it was all over the place, and
it was.
He went for it, and I'll say this: I thought the character Lex Luthor in that movie was a good character. He was sinister. He was evil. Like, the stuff with taking his mom. That's the Lex Luthor thing to do. The stuff with, pinning them against each other. I understood his intentions as to why he didn't like Superman. I understood everything about the character. It was just his performance. It just took me out.
But the Lex Luthor that we know would have been more put together, collected, as he did all these evil, sinister things.
Did you not think he was put together? I thought he was put
very
together.
mentally unstable.
His mannerisms, characteristics were just like, and then at the very end, he gets his shaved head, which means we might get a different,
personality.
Personality performance next time. But like, he was just awkward. I thought he was over the top, way too over the top for the tone of this movie.
His rants were unnecessary. I'm sorry. And I think I watched Jeremy Johns on YouTube. Yeah, he's my favorite movie critic, and I think in the trailer back then he made a trailer about Jesse Eisenberg, talking about Jesse Eisenberg, and he speaks about it, and he's like, I feel like it'll be like Jesse Eisenberg like playing Lex Luthor. Like, it's going to be how he portrays himself.
The guy in the Social Network. He's almost like
Zuckerberg's company's really going downhill.
Right.
I'll tell you that.
It'll be Zuckerberg being
he's going against Superman.
Yeah, it won't be the same because
it's so weird,
he's kind of like like give me the name. Oh goodness, Seth Rogen. Kind of like Seth Rogen, who plays the same type of person.
He's like typecast.
Yeah, yes.
Seth Rogen doesn't play the same type of person. He just plays Seth Rogen.
Right.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of range, but like he's good at what he does. It's just the thing is like him in this movie. If they prefaced it by saying, "Oh, he's young. He's like 20 years old. He's a kid," or something like that, I would have been like, "Okay," but it still would have made sense for what he did. His performance was just awkward, and I don't know. He was over the top. He was like Jim Carrey's Riddler in like one of the Batman movies. It was just
said Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey in Batman
Forever.
Forever.
Goodness, Jeremy John said something about Jim Carrey. Like he could see Jim Carrey playing that role. It just shows. It's kind of like it just did. It doesn't seem to work exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, I wish it had. Like I really do wish.
And that really bothered me. Yeah. So okay, I think we're not trying to bash it because I really didn't hate this movie. So let's get into the positives. And you briefly mentioned this earlier, Charles, but I think Ben Affleck as Batman is the best part of this movie.
It was good. I did like it.
He's phenomenal in this movie. And I mean, you were comparing him to some of his older roles. You know, Ben Affleck's changed a lot in the past like 6-7 years. I mean, everything from I think when he started directing, he just became like a better actor and just overall like person in Hollywood. Like after he did Gone Baby Gone, and then he goes off and does The Town, and he's great in The Town. It's a great movie. And then he does Argo, gets Best Picture. Dude has just like taken off. And then then he gets jobs like with David Fincher and Gone Girl, and he's just a phenomenal actor. So when I heard he was cast as Batman, everyone was backlashing. I thought it was a great choice because he's directing the Batman movie. It's gonna probably come out in the next couple of years, and that's just awesome. I mean, I think he had some creative input on all the scenes with Batman, and I actually think that's why the scenes with Batman were the best part of this movie because everything with Batman was just awesome. And people might complain, "Oh, he's a killer in this one." Well, you know what? We have like so many different incarnations of Batman. That didn't bother me. We're probably going to get another one in 15 years? We're going to get another incarnation of Batman. So I'm all right with this type of Batman, this like kind of somber. I think they could have benefited a little bit if they had a line in there saying like if Superman's like, "Wow, you're doing a lot of killing, Bruce," and he's like, "Well, you know what? They killed Robin," because they have that little scene. They have that little shot.
Yeah, they killed
Robin's,
Jason. Like they could show Jason Todd is dead.
That's what put him over the top. That's what makes him kill now. Because Robin's dead.
Real quick, that image of the suit with like the Joker stuff written on it. That's the kind of thing they should have done with the Aquaman and all of them.
That's subtle.
Something so subtle and so quick that you're like, oh shit, that's going on too.
Stuff. He's like a grizzled Batman.
Like, they knew how to do it. They just didn't.
But I mean, like people who don't understand the comics don't understand who Jason Todd is. Don't understand that there is a Robin that was killed, and so like.
Well, people know of Robin. It's just like I don't think he would period work in like a live action movie. So I like the fact that they're emphasizing he's been in the game for a while, like so much so that he had a Robin and Robin's dead. So like that, everything with Batman. Honestly, I think as Batman, like fighting Batman, not Bruce Wayne, but as Batman, I think this is the best on-screen Batman we've ever had. He did just such a presence on screen. He's huge. He's the biggest Batman we've ever had. The fight scenes are badass. Even in the dream sequences, the fight scenes were amazing. His fight sequence at the end where he's trying to save Martha he goes through the wall and takes out the guy. Oh my God, it was just awesome. Everything about it was great. It was so detailed when he's working out to train to fight Superman. He's like moving the tire and stuff. Oh my God, he's just awesome in this movie.
What I noticed about that the scene before he rescues Martha, he doesn't seem to kill people in that room. It seems to be all knockouts.
Every time that he might have put a knife into someone, it was kind of like a wide shot. Like you don't quite see it. And then there was even the part where he's in the Batmobile where like someone's shooting at his car and he's like, "Oh no," and he like puts out his machine gun and you see the car blow up in the distance. So you're like, every time someone might have died, it was kind of like not directly shown. I don't think they ever directly showed someone die aside from like in a dream sequence.
But he's dead. I mean, but he did kill the people in the room when he shot the guy with the flamethrower.
Yeah,
they're dead.
Yeah, he's shooting them. Yeah, right. But
he
they
had
never
to kill
like
him.
outright showed him like kill. Like they didn't focus on him like taking the
breaking
guy's
someone's
life.
neck.
Exactly. Like it was all kind of like quick and in the background, sort of. But yeah, he was killing people, obviously. Does everyone agree? Like, do you think he was great in this movie?
I did. Yes.
Yeah, I think he was my second favorite thing about the movie.
He silenced the haters. Okay.
All right,
He
so
was a good
me and
Batman.
Charles are going to do the rest of the show.
Okay. I think he was just like a really strong part of the movie. What was your guy? Was that your favorite part? What
That
was
was my
your
second
favorite
favorite part.
part? What was it, Jake? The music for Wonder Woman. Nice.
I think that's so good.
It was
When it
good.
came in, she's like the shot. That piece of music made the whole movie worth it.
That was awesome. I will agree. That was pretty cool. When she came in, he's about to get blasted by like Doomsday or whatever, and
Yeah.
she has the shield, and it like zoom, and her arms are up, and it zooms in on her eyes, and
Yeah,
it's like.
it tracks in. She looks up, and then the riff starts going, and
Oh,
they're
yeah.
beating the shit out of it. Like, yeah,
So what do we think of Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman? The actress.
she was a wonder.
She was a wonder.
And she was a woman.
Checked out. Next question.
She's absolutely beautiful.
Right.
And she does have like a strong sense. She can be seductive and strong at the same time. I do like that.
She was the thing I was most worried about this movie, because this is the first time she's ever been on screen in a live action movie, Wonder Woman. That's a big task, and they cast her. And if you look at her past movie credits, it's Fast and the Furious. It's Fast and the Furious and Triple Nine. Like, it's nothing. She's done nothing, and I didn't think she was particularly great in all those. She's a model. I was like, what the heck? Like, she must have had like an amazing audition or something. I was really skeptical, and to be honest, I still don't really have a full opinion of her as an actress. I thought the character was great, but like if you put any other actress in there in those fight scenes, it would have been just as good. She only had like 16, 17 lines, you know? I don't think, and she was only really good in that Dark Knight Rises like scene at the party. They kind of introduced her like they did Catwoman in Dark Knight Rises.
All right.
At a party stealing stuff, and then he has to get it back.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, she doesn't have a lot of dialogue. I still don't know what to think with her.
Her being thrown to the movie, it was one of the things, like her storyline, I did not enjoy.
She didn't really have a storyline.
Exactly, and I'm gonna say it because she it was the way that they used her in the movie. So
Open up emails and save them at the end.
we show her at a party. We show her at another event, and she has to like escape and move away
Right.
from him. And he sees her and like didn't steal it, just borrowed it. And it was kind of like and it's like that's all we really got of her. It was that.
Yeah.
It was those two. Then we saw her. And then we saw her leaving, going on the plane. And then she sees Doomsday.
Right.
Doomsday. And then she sees something on TV. Then she gets off the plane.
Yeah.
And
That's it.
I was just like,
she fights and
I was
saves
like,
them and has no dialogue.
where's the development? Where's the backstory? Where's any like we need some information on her, people.
Right.
We do. Like
I think we're gonna get that with the movie. It was just like,
but
she was there.
but the way that she was made in this movie, we couldn't just. It was kind of like you're kind of a big player right now. In
It was
this
hard to
movie. You're a little
accept.
bit exactly like this is all
was
we have on her
jarring.
for this movie because we had her in the final fight, and I believe that if we had you in the final fight, we should have had more info on you throughout the movie. Like that's just
Completely
something we
agree.
should have had.
what'd you think, Jake?
Well, okay, going back to that, like she sees Doomsday from the plane and she's like, "Oh, I have to go fight him." Why did she not in Man of Steel, when two gods were blowing up a city, why didn't she interject there? This is the same thing, just 2 years later. But no, that one was fine. She would have let that
Okay,
the whole planet get destroyed. But this one,
No, I forgive that one. I think that one's a little picky. I forgive that because the Man of Steel thing. You could have said that with Batman. Like it was all happened at once. Like no one knew.
no,
Like
Batman was there.
yeah, Batman was there, but he wasn't in a suit or anything. He didn't see the alien ship coming down from like a TV and then like suited up and got there. I don't think that's a just critique because I think the whole point of the movie is Superman and Batman's quarrel is what unites. What brings her out. Like she even has a line where she's like, I put this away for the past 110 years or whatever, but you guys or his sacrifice brought me out. Like Superman himself, his whole thing brought her out. Like I mean, the whole movie, Superman's being critiqued, Superman's being put out. People are asking, do we need Superman? They're like literally putting it's like the Trump supporters who like hated illegal aliens. They just took all their signs and were like, we don't like Superman. We hate this illegal alien.
But I mean, like,
so,
it was. I understand what you say about that because Wonder Woman, throughout the whole movie, she was kind of like
So why would she come out if they don't like this alien?
Yeah,
already,
but well, she was like, and she would show up places, she would leave, and she was about to leave. It seemed like she was ditching it because she didn't want to come out as Wonder Woman. Like that makes sense. I would understand. I would
Right.
understand that. Yeah.
It inspired. I think after she saw, how Superman handled all the criticism, and how he's still fighting, and then she saw that on the plane. I think that I bought her coming back. I believed it. I didn't think that was the weakest part of that scene. I will say the editing from her coming back to Superman fighting this guy, to him bringing him into space, to getting hit by a nuke, to coming back down from space, to saving Lois Lane. Like, Lois Lane, like, takes the kryptonite staff and throws it in the water, and then she's like, oh crap, I need to go grab it.
Stop it. See, hold on.
It's just
That
like,
made
what?
me so angry. Okay, so first of all, Lois, leave. You're not part of this. We don't need you right now. Handle
She
this
took
for
a
the big
company-
boy.
They just needed her to be
She
useful.
took a company
I couldn't
helicopter
believe that. I
to
was like, are you
Gotham.
serious? I was like, go, like, get it. My thing is, though, it was, hey, so he's destroying the city. I need to stop him because he's destroying the city. Then he's out, okay? Now,
Right.
Doomsday lands on Stryker Island, inhabited. Like, wait, I got to get him to the city. I'm like, are you serious, Batman? You just said you don't want the city destroyed.
Oh, right.
Like, you understand that, right? From
you're
the
absolutely
beginning.
right.
It is. Like, he took him into the city where Doomsday once again did a big shockwave and put down a lot of buildings. Like,
And
understand,
then they cut to Anderson Cooper being like, don't worry, they were uninhabited. It's just like, come on.
It was an inhabited place where he landed. You didn't need to get him back.
Right.
You could have set it up a different way. Tell Diana to go jump over there and go get the actual kryptonite staff. Come back over. Then we can use it. Also, give me a second. How does Superman build up the willpower to use his powers, even though there's kryptonite there's a big piece of kryptonite on the
Yeah,
staff?
that was cool. No, that was my biggest problem. He's flying with the staff.
kryptonite. Like, it's not a thing of willpower at this point. Kryptonite will definitely take away your powers. Okay, that's what happens. It will definitely do this. You can't just build up the willpower and say, I'm going to do this. It's like me trying to say, I can fly right now, but gravity's still going to push me back down. And the willpower saying, I can always fly. I can fly even if I don't believe in gravity. Even if I feel like I can do it, I can fly. You see what I mean by that?
Yeah,
Like,
I
like-
kind of bought it.
No, with the kryptonite, I bought it up until that point. Like, okay, it's like a gas, so it kind of wears off. So after a couple seconds, he can fight again.
But that was direct
But then-
contact with him. That, like,
Yeah, I know,
hit him,
but-
you know?
The
he
first
touched
time when
him.
Lois Lane throws the staff away from him, it's because he's weak and it's too
It
close
was
to
too
him.
close to
but
him.
now he's
Close.
holding it
He's
and
holding
flying
it.
with it at full
Well,
speed.
that was after he
at full
got cut on the
strength.
face.
doesn't matter. He went to the
So?
restaurant. He came back. Okay, but you're still kryptonite is still going to take away
Well,
your
he-
power.
it
That's
just
the
made
thing
no
about
sense. He's
kryptonite. It's
flying,
his
holding
weakness.
kryptonite.
I would have bought. I kind of bought the scene because
You're a sucker.
right before that, he's like,
Wow.
he looks at Lois, and he's like, "You're my world," and then he takes it and like, I think we would have bought that or appreciated that scene more if the editing had been so jarring, if it hadn't gone from all these different things, and then and then just puts that scene in there. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that scene I think would have worked if it hadn't just felt kind of out of place. Like, if they focused on his relationship with her throughout the entire movie instead of just like snippets here and there. And then they get that scene. I'm like, okay, he's using like the power of his like love for her to like, and he's just like literally putting it all out there and going for it.
He just shouldn't be able to.
He just got healed
fly.
by the sun. Like, I don't
It's
know.
it's one thing if he was running with it. Okay, you can run on Earth. You can run with the step, but no, he's flying with
Excuse
it.
me, not even running, because you saw when it was near him, he was on the ground,
Yeah.
laid out as if someone just like cut off his nuts. Okay, I'm sorry. Like, come on. It's really not a thing about willpower at this point. It's that it will take away his powers. That's what kryptonite does. Takes away his powers.
It did because right when he hits Doomsday with it,
Well, yeah.
he's able to penetrate him with his
With his what?
thorn or whatever.
He's say that again.
With his like
Crystal.
with his
His
crystal
crystal,
arm, with his like
yeah.
staff arm, yeah, and he kills him. So like that,
But-
I thought that was the ballsiest part of the movie.
That was some shit. Like killing Superman was like, whoa, he's actually dead.
That was the ballsiest part.
I
of the movie.
loved that they did that because I thought there's
I
no
did
way
too.
they would.
I did
and
also.
then the last fucking frame of the movie,
Right.
of the grave and the dirt just moving up a little. I'm like,
Again, okay. I totally. They're gonna bring him back. I knew like from the moment he died, I was like, oh, they're obviously gonna bring him back.
They need him for Justice League.
I just didn't think. I don't do that in another movie. Don't have the end of this film be the dirt.
yeah,
Do it in another
I
movie.
completely agree. This should have ended with him being dead, like dead.
That would have been such
no
a
debate.
badass ending, with no hints that he's coming back. Even though I mean it's a Hollywood movie. It's a superhero movie. He's coming back. Don't hint at it though. Like that ending. If they hadn't done the dirt thing, I would have liked this movie like a lot more. This would have been in discussion for like one of my favorite superhero movies of all time. I've been like, that was ballsy. That was awesome. Oh my god, they went for it at the end there. Like that was really ambitious. But you're right. Like, and when we were leaving the movie at first, I was like, I didn't mind that. I kind of saw the comment, but like, did they have to put the dirt there? That just wasn't needed. And plus, your next movie isn't even going to be the Justice League. It's going to be Suicide Squad. So like, if you just kept it on that note, I think that just would have been awesome.
My thing is,
I don't know.
Understand. I guess the government, did they have a body? I guess they didn't have a body.
They were
in their
doing like a
casket.
Tomb of the Unknown Soldier type thing, I think, with like an empty casket.
But I mean,
symbolic.
if Superman's dead, they need to see that Superman's dead.
Because and his death was meaningful. Like I totally get what they were going for. Like, they use his death as the thing that brings together Batman and Wonder Woman. And at the very end, he's just like, we gotta go find people like you, because like to honor him. Like, it was a great idea, great story point idea. Just with that, you're right, with that dirt rising, it's just like, no.
Should have edited it like 5 frames less.
Yeah, like, just come on. Like, it would have been such an awesome ending to a superhero movie. I would have never seen any superhero film like that.
Why is he coming back to life? Like, how?
I don't. Well, that's the thing, and then it leaves you with all these questions, and you're like, I don't even care now, because that was just like.
My thing is, he's invulnerable, yes, but he's not immortal. If he dies, he dies. Like,
I don't know, man.
Okay, that's what got me. I was like, if he dies, he dies. He's not.
He dies.
He was just like.
I'm sorry. They can try to say it's probably like the red sun. Like,
I don't know, dude.
Or is like
that bothered
sun
the
or whatever.
heck out of me. Like, that was the point of the movie where I was just like, come on. And are there any other points we haven't discussed yet?
How Doomsday mutated because of the nuke.
Yeah, I didn't mind that.
Oh
I
yeah,
thought it was
like
cool.
every time that was
That was
fun.
cool.
Every
took
time
it
they
down.
like
were
attacked
awesome.
him, he got more
Oh,
powerful.
cool. What did get me though was
What?
how Superman, he's up. Superman's pretty freaking strong. Let's just say this. Superman's a very strong
I mean, I could
person.
take him, but yeah.
All right, you do that.
Yeah.
Superman's, because he's all that in a bag of chips. But a nuke knocked him out.
Yeah. I bought that.
But he's been through worse.
Well, no, I mean, he was kind of gone, and then the sun got him.
Well, I see what he's saying though, because the nuke like knocked him unconscious, but he's standing there in the Capitol with the explosion right
And
there,
just stood
and
there
he
like
didn't even
nothing
flinch.
happened. Didn't even
So
flinch.
it is kind of like, obviously a nuke is more powerful, but like, how? I mean, yeah.
No,
I know what you're saying.
I don't. I completely disagree. I don't think that
He's
that's-
been through
that's-
stuff.
I think that's like a silly. I think that's a silly thing to critique, because that's a bomb, and he's it's daylight. Like, I thought that worked because he had just been slit in, like, he was still kind of vulnerable because he had like the little mark from the kryptonite staff, and he's in space. It's nighttime.
And
there's
the
no
sun
sun
healed
out.
him
The
completely.
sun healed him, yeah, which was kind of mirroring the end of Man of Steel, where he takes out that the terraforming thing in like the Indian Ocean, and he's like on the ground, and then the sun heals him again. It was just like, okay, we're seeing some similar plot points here, and then he has to rescue Lois Lane from falling from something again. It was, yeah. I don't know. That didn't bother me, the nuke thing.
The fight was great, but
Fight was
Batman didn't do shit.
Batman was pretty cool.
After
he shot Doomsday with the his last kryptonite pellet thing.
and there you go, and that's about it. Because after that, all he was doing was like running.
He was
like
trying
you
to
see,
be. He was like, I like Spider-Man. Let me try that, and he was grappling everywhere.
even when he was in his car. My thing is, what got me was Doomsday's about to shoot him in the face with his laser, with his like face laser,
Oh,
and he
yeah.
sits here and blocks his face. Like, no, Batman,
was
you
that-
know this is not going to keep you.
Was that the line though? He's
Like,
just
you
looking
need
at
to
it.
go.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and then
That
then
was
Wonder Woman
great.
saved him.
Yeah.
Okay, but he didn't know she was going to save him. That's the thing. I hate when they do that in movies. I'm sorry. I just always hated it because you're not going to live
They
past
teased
it.
it. They teased it.
Yeah,
Okay,
come
hey,
on.
So another thing I actually really liked about the movie, like I said, it had awesome ideas. Like the whole, we had it was multiple movies combined in one. The whole question with does it need to be Superman? Batman was fantastic. I loved Alfred. I loved Jeremy Irons' Alfred. I thought he was great. I thought how do you top Michael Caine? Jeremy Irons is pretty darn good. I don't think, of course, it's way too early to say he's as good as Michael Caine. He's only had half a movie, but like Jeremy Irons, fantastic choice. I liked everything with the newspaper. It was just so sloppy. It kept cutting from different thing to different
Was
thing.
you like
and
everything with the newspaper? How come they haven't fired Clark Kent yet?
Okay, hold on.
He's
think they
never
Do we
at
understand
work. He never
that
does
he's
his
Clark
job.
Kent now? Do we understand Superman is Clark Kent? Because
Yeah, I don't know.
Because
You're right.
he's dead now, and in the paper at the same
They're like,
exact
fired him.
time.
Yeah, in the
that-
paper it says like
One of our
fired
own.
or something.
No, it says like they said one of our own is dead.
Like he died. He's died, and Superman's dead. Y'all, they look exactly the same. Glasses don't change anything. Like,
I bet they know it. I bet the world's got to know
well,
that, right?
okay,
Are you
also
sure?
like that because when Lois Lane is like, I need a helicopter to Gotham, it's like, you don't want to follow a story like that. It's like, it's not for a story, and she lets him. So what does he think she says? Is he like, oh, you...
I think the cat's out of the bag.
It has to-
It
I mean, it
it's gotta
has
be
to
out. Yeah,
be.
it's got to be out. Yeah, that you're absolutely right though. I mean, were there any other positives you guys have for this movie? I got again everything with Batman. I thought the things Lex Luthor was doing were interesting. They were very good. I thought Superman had some pretty cool lines. I was a little confused with whatever was going on in was it Baghdad or was it Afghanistan?
Mhm.
Anything with the arms dealers.
The arms
That was a little
dealers, yeah.
confusing, and they kept trying to cut back to that. There were a lot of stuff like that where they just like they had a scene about something and then they never addressed it again. Let's go to the dream sequences.
They had to use it. I'm sorry. They had to use the. They had to use that scene because then they had the daughter of the arms dealer saying like he killed my family. Remember? They had to like use it to show like maybe Superman isn't needed.
You're right.
And also like Superman comes and saves you. Like why is he saving Lois Lane out of all people?
I agree.
Like you see that like that's just like something that.
All right, but it
had
was
to
still
be
kind of
used.
unclear.
And also like because the guys were working and like working with Lex Luthor and everything. So it just like they just needed that information to be there for the viewers.
What do we think of the dream sequences? I think the first one was Batman going to his parents' grave or whatever, and then there's blood coming out of the grave of Martha Wayne, which they go back to later, which I was like, okay, that's some foreshadowing. And then it cuts to, him in the desert, and I think there were like 5 dream sequences in this. It cuts him in the desert, and that was an awesome fight scene where he's fighting all the like Superman guys, and then it's like a post-apocalyptic world.
See, I've now every time I watch fight scenes like that, I've become very skeptical because you can see people like the people. Why don't they all just attack at once? Type,
Yeah.
So I'm looking around, I'm looking at all the people in the background just doing whatever, and there's actually a point where a guy he just stands there, right? He turns like this, turns back, and then he runs. Then he runs towards Batman. I'm like, are you serious?
I thought it looked awesome. Personally. I thought they all looked I thought those fight scenes were really well done, but it was a really long.
It
It
pisses
was.
me off because they're kind of unnecessary. They look
They
cool,
were.
but they're unnecessary.
They didn't relate to anything
and
else.
all of them should have been taken out except for Kevin Costner because Kevin Costner is America's father.
Oh my God, how badly did you want him to say, "Hey Dad, want to have a catch"? I wanted that so badly, like a Field of Dreams reference. That would have been amazing.
That would honestly, it would have made sense with the pacing. They just they build a baseball diamond on the top of that mountain.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, it was just like Field of Dreams, but it was reverse roles. I mean, he's seeing his deceased father. And, that would have been so good. I was thinking that the whole time that scene was happening. I was like, just say, want to have a catch. That would have been amazing. But yeah, that dream sequence was good. The ones that like the Flash, like you were saying.
Oh my God, the Flash came. I was so happy about it.
But was it a dream? Because he wakes up from it. So I don't know if that was a thing or not.
It was like a dream inside of a dream.
Was that the
right?
one
So
where
he
it's
was
like
dreaming
a
of
white
a
blob?
No, it's when
The electrical
it was like
things.
electric, just
Yeah.
electric. Everything's like coming into like everything's. He's like, no, Lois Lane is the key. Like
That
he's
was the
out here.
Flash?
Yeah, that was a Flash coming back in
Right.
time. Yeah,
So was that? But it was a dream.
it was a dream. So that actually got me thinking. Like, is Batman dreaming the future? Like, can
Like,
someone
what the
explain
hell?
what's happening?
It
Like,
didn't- that was again. That's what I'm saying. It was like all these scenes they weren't explained. Like that it made no sense. It made no sense to the movie at all. Because if it was just like a random scene of of that guy coming to Bruce Wayne and then he didn't wake up, it was like that was real. Okay, that was random, but okay. But like everything with that was just so odd. Like that means Batman was dreaming of a guy he doesn't know yet coming back in time to say hi. The dream sequences just didn't make sense. I don't know if they'll explain them in a
didn't make
future
sense to me.
movie. They made no sense at all, and it was kind of a waste of time.
Honestly, I was waiting for the end of the movie to like Superman wake up, and none of that happened.
That would be good. Can I pitch you like almost a different movie, or how I would have done this whole movie after the bomb explodes the Capitol or whatever?
No.
No?
Yeah, move on.
Okay. No, I'm going to pitch you anyway.
It's your show.
So, okay, look. That bomb explodes, right? Everyone thinks Superman kind of did it. No one really knows. It was just kind of, it was a weird thing, and they want to see if he can, protect them or not, whatever. Cut to Batman because Batman's watching that on TV, right? Batman's watching that on TV. He's getting those notes from the guy who lost his legs, and now he knows that guy died. What if? So that's when Batman should fight Superman, right? That should be it right there. He should suit up. I mean, they cut to him training, but that should have been it right there. He suits up, he puts up his bat signal again, and then they duke it out. That should have been the fight right there.
But my thing is, I mean, I don't think that they were sure that like it was Superman, because I remember like on the TV they were talking about they think that the guy Wally, the guy Wally, he put the bomb inside of his own wheelchair,
right?
And I mean, we know that his wheelchair was given him by Lex Luthor, so we know like. So also
well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying change the story. I'm like, if I did this movie, I would have had it be like that happens and Lex Luthor blows it up to make it look like Superman did that. Because before, like everyone was outside, they're rallying like we don't like this alien, and then he comes down. And it's the first time he like exposes himself directly to the public. What if the public takes it like, oh, Superman did that, and then Batman does it too? Like that would have been a great way to have Lex Luthor pulling the strings and having those two fight instead of taking his mom and doing all that. So have them fight, right? Have them duke it out and have it be like kind of a tie. Like, I don't know, he has the kryptonite and all that, and while Batman's training, he breaks into LexCorp or whatever, steals the kryptonite. Then, we get, like I was saying earlier, we get like a little bit of exposure to like, oh, here's some future villains, here's some future characters maybe, like little subtle things like that. They duke it out. It's kind of a tie, of course. And like maybe he like shoots Superman a bunch of times with those kryptonite things, and he like barely gets away or something like that. And then you do the thing with the mom. Then Lex Luthor takes his mom, and instead of having the fight there, that's when he's like, you got to help me save Martha. I don't want to fight you. And he's like, Martha. And then they have that connection with the name.
Just completely realized it is really weird that Superman's calling his mom by his first name.
Well, okay. Well, so then you have the connection. Right. Then you have the connection with the name, right? And that's what brings them together. Instead of having a fight and then getting connected by the name.
It's completely unnecessary.
Well, he could have said his mom. Who's your
mom?
Martha Kent or whatever.
He's
don't
not
you
gonna
think
say
that would have
who's
been way
your
better?
mom.
Don't you think? Like, I think like instead of having the fight and then being connected by Martha, you have a fight earlier in the movie, and then you have like they're about to fight again, and that's how they get connected. Then they both team up and they're about to fight Lex Luthor, and then you bring in Doomsday or whatever. Like the point is, there's a great movie in there somewhere. Not just a good. There was a great movie in that.
Maybe in the email.
What's that?
Maybe check your email.
Do we have anything else, you guys, you want to talk about?
I just want to make this clear. I wasn't such a fan about the Martha connection. Like that's just the weirdest connection there can be. And I mean, sure, you can find a lot of connections in a lot of different places. Like Batman.
I like that connection. I thought it was kind of but just the way it was done was bad. That's what I'm saying. And that's what my point is with a lot of this movie is I liked a lot of stuff. There was potential. I liked the character Lex Luthor. I liked everything he did, but the way he was acted, the way the performer, portrayed him was bad. I liked the Martha connection. The way they used it in the movie was bad. I liked how they put Wonder Woman in it, but without explaining anything, that was bad, You know what I'm saying? Like I love the fight scenes, but they're kind of random. The way that we got to them was bad. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, like, let's just like in the movie, let's just go on like fast, slow, fast. So it starts out slow. It does start out slow.
It was slow.
And it takes a bit. It does take like an hour. I'm not gonna lie. Like it takes like a bit to get up to speed.
Almost 2 hours.
Yeah. It took a while. And I think it was really like the scene where where they explode at the trial. Everyone dies.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I mean, it got slow again. And I was expecting it to pick up like right after that. Oh shit! Like let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's get it rolling.
That's
but
what
no,
I'm saying. They should have the fight right there.
Yeah, it just got slow again, and then it took a little bit to get up to speed again, and then like maybe the last 38
minutes. Yeah, maybe 40 minutes.
It got to a good pace, and
I don't know. And they could have cut some stuff. Like if they cut that whole email thing, you save 5 minutes right there. If they cut the like one of those dream sequences, that's another 5 minutes. Like you can get this down to like a 2 hour, maybe 2 hour and 10 minute movie instead of being the 2 hours and 38 minutes it was.
The files to show the metahumans, that could have been done like only. I really wish they had done this if they had introduced that in like another movie to show us like. Oh, we need to find these people. Like, we're going to find these people. Like, use it to, like, in the beginning of a movie, right?
Make that the after credits.
Like, yeah, like.
Have Superman die. The judge doesn't rise.
After credits.
After credit, Batman sends, like, here's the email. Because you know how he's like, he talks to Wonder Woman in the movie, and he's like, find the other people. We got to go find the other people at the funeral.
Why?
All right, fade to black. Have the whole credits go down, and then be like, oh, it's Wonder Woman at home. I don't know, making coffee, like one does. And she gets an email from Batman, and it's like, I found some people. And it's just those videos. Like, come on.
Like, yeah, the post-credit scenes, that could have been it. That could have been
Right.
perfect.
I know they don't want to copy off
No,
Marvel.
I for one thought the post-credit scene they did was fantastic.
Yeah, the just blank screen and people crying in the theater.
The people crying in your theater?
It was
Absolutely.
him.
I will say this, though. When I was serving this weekend, this is like a 10 p.m., 11 p.m. showing last night, this Saturday, when Superman bit the dust, there was this little girl in the back of the theater just wailing. And I was like, yeah, this is not for kids. This is like almost
Of
an
course
R-rated
it's
film.
not.
You know what I just realized with that email too?
What?
So okay, Wonder Woman wants to get the files
A picture of her.
to get rid of that picture of
Right.
her. It's the digital age. I'm sure there's more than one copy of that JPEG in all of LexCorp. That not a like if she steals the file, there's gonna be more.
I don't know.
How did Batman?
nitpicking
How did
here.
he steal files from Lex without Lex knowing?
Remember, he
Yeah,
broke
like-
in. He broke. No, he knew. He broke into the thing. Oh, wait a minute.
I'm talking about when he was at the party.
And he put the
Yeah.
thing. He put the
He
device.
plugged
It
in a
was one of his
device that
gadgets.
said stealing files 1%, 2%.
Yeah, it was one of his gadgets.
But I mean, like, come on, like,
It's a processing
it's
file, by
Lex
the way.
Lex Luthor. He's like,
The whole email should not have happened.
Right.
How did he get her email? Also,
it's Batman. That's
Exactly.
how.
Oh no, he was actually looking her up. He got he was using his one of his computer, and he was doing the facial recognition, kind of like in Dark Knight Rises he did with
Yes.
Catwoman. I thought that was fine. And he got a name, but yeah, this movie just reaps so much potential. And don't get me wrong, I don't think this was an awful movie. I personally don't think it was awful. I think that it wasn't great, it wasn't bad. It's in the middle for me, just me personally. And there's just so much potential there for other movies. This wasn't an Amazing Spider-Man 2 where, yeah, you just killed the franchise. This wasn't a Spider-Man 3 that I'm trying to think of other movies other than Spider-Man. That
Phantom Menace.
This wasn't Phantom Menace. This wasn't Batman and Robin where you're just like, this is awful. This will kill the
X-Men
franchise.
Origins Wolverine.
Right. This movie had so many awesome ideas, and you know what? I think it got by. Meaning, yeah, you had all this awful setup for the Justice League, but guess what? I think the movie barely got by. And if another movie comes out in the future that's really good, I'll live with it. I'll buy going to see those movies now. I know they set them up horribly, but I will still go see them because I think this movie just made it. It was just good enough for me to buy into that.
How did you feel about the references to God, making it kind of religious?
Oh, like saying Superman's like a god?
Yeah, like Lex Luthor, the entire time, it's like God is all powerful, then he's not all
Right.
good, and if he's all good, then he can't be all powerful.
Well, right. That's what I'm saying. I bought Lex Luthor's intentions. He didn't like the fact that there's a guy with godlike powers that's more powerful than him, so he wants to take him out. I bought that intention. I bought every time they mentioned something like that. I was like, okay, see, that's what I'm saying. There were so many good ideas in this movie. They just weren't executed properly.
I
And
mean,
think,
it's Lex Luthor, so it's more like he wants to use him as a slave into my
you think so?
Yeah, I mean, it's if you look up Lex's history and stuff it is kind of like that.
Yeah.
He would rather use him than just completely get rid of him because it's Superman.
I think at one point he made a decision though, that he was going to get rid of him. I think. Yeah, I don't know. And maybe in the future we'll we'll learn more about that.
But he did kind of use him as a slave. Hey, I have your mother captive. Now I control you. You do what I say, or your mother dies.
Oh, right. Take
come-
out Batman because Batman stole my.
Or you have you had an hour. You had an hour,
Right.
but now you have less. First, that line killed me. When you began, you had an hour. Now you have less. Well, no shit. That's how time works.
And it happened to be on the
Get-
same night that Batman prepared for him.
And it's also 2 minutes. It's
doesn't
not
make
like
sense.
you had an hour, now you have 5 minutes. No, you have 58 minutes.
You're
now.
get out of here. You were sitting here talking to him for the past couple minutes. Don't play. And then, when he comes in, when, it's dang, bam, and he comes in, he's like, you're a little late. I'm like, oh, my God.
Yeah, really?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It's some things.
It's far from perfect.
It was.
But I think there's still a lot to like. I love Batman. I can't wait to see more Batman. Everything about Batman was great. I think Superman, he was good. back to my version. I'm sorry, I keep saying my version of the movie.
All right, so we're
I
Kevin
would have had it
Costner.
ended with
Catch.
Lois Lane dying. What do we think about that?
Is she alive
Right?
still?
She's alive.
Oh,
She was at the
look at
funeral.
that. Good for her.
Final frame. She's like flower, or she puts the dirt. Remember, she drops the dirt in the on the coffin. I think if she died, that would have had like a more of an emotional toll because, and plus, there's no way she's coming back, like Superman can come back. You know, that would have been also equally as ballsy, and that would have been definitive. Like, no, she's absolutely not coming back. And then you get rid of, all the future like love story quips and just stuff like that. I don't know. I that's just one of my ideas. Like, there's just so much to this movie I thought could have been so easily fixed or changed that would have made it that much better, but it just wasn't. I don't know. And when you have 2.5 years, how do you not, like, in a press screening, how does someone not mention, yeah, maybe you should change that email scene, or maybe you should, not jump to 50 other scenarios during that final fight? I don't know. I don't know how.
If this is the final cut, imagine what they did leave out.
Well, right. So now there's gonna be a DVD Blu-ray release with 30 extra minutes of footage that's gonna be R-rated. I usually don't get excited for stuff like that. For this one though, I am a little.
We're gonna see Batman kill people straight up.
Oh yeah, I guess we will.
It's gonna be him like branding the guy. It's
Oh yeah,
gonna
he
be
branded
yeah.
people.
It's just gonna be
the
30
branding, that
minutes
guy.
snuff
Holy
film.
shit.
He was awesome, man. He was serious part of this movie easily. Guys, what other Zack Snyder films have you seen?
Man of Steel.
Have you seen Man of Steel?
Man of
Have you seen
Steel.
300?
Yes.
Have you seen a Watchmen?
Yes.
You have seen Watchmen?
Yeah.
And then there's one more. Forgetting it though.
Batman vs Superman.
Oh no, it was the zombie movie. He did a remake, Dawn of the Dead. He did the Dawn of the Dead remake. Like, there's
Dawn of the Dead
There's a
remake.
common theme in his movies, and I'm seeing this now, especially with this movie. He is like a fantastic visionary. Like he has some great ideas. He has a great look at like the universe he wants. But as a storyteller, as a director telling a coherent story, he really suffers. And I think Man of Steel, I think that's why I like Man of Steel more than this movie. Man of Steel had a coherent story and a full-fledged thing. It was beginning to end. This was the story of the Superman, and then, one of the generals from Krypton's trying to take over the world, and you saw the outcome of that. Maybe they didn't go enough into his character or his psyche, but, like, there was a coherent story here. This one, like, if I had to tell you the story of this movie, I don't know what I'd say. I'd say, like, okay, Batman is mad at Superman, but Superman was mad at him and then is forced to fight him because his mom's kidnapped. And then they join forces because they have the same mom's name, and Wonder Woman comes in. And
Hold on, even just saying it doesn't even sound right
It's
because
just
they
like,
had the
what?
same name as mother's. Like that,
Yeah,
I
it
just couldn't.
sounds-
Oh God.
His storytelling isn't good, and like, and I don't know. It's bothersome. And this was this case. So with Watchmen, it was a shot-for-shot remake of the graphic novel, and that's why the story worked.
It was great.
But for this one, it was just like he was too, and maybe a lot of stuff got left off on the editing floor, but he was too hung up on the spectacle and the images and just everything about that, and he forgot to tell the story. The editing is so sloppy. It's nuts. You guys have anything else you want to say about the movie?
Let's go over like the actors for the next like roles that they introduced. So we have Aquaman.
Oh yeah, Jason Momoa.
Yeah. So like I feel like that's
From
great.
Game of
What
Thrones.
do you think of the look of Aquaman?
Hmm?
What do you think of the look of him?
Oh, I liked it. I
He looked
really liked how they just showed him like come out. He had the green eyes, like like
Yeah, I don't know.
like, I was like,
And he's just like,
and then he's like, and he throws the trident, and he just like, it's just
like a fish.
and he just like shoots off and just gone. I'm like,
Yeah,
yes.
I'll say that the things in those videos were good.
What great Flash! How he like
Yeah.
took out the electricity of the store by like using his speed to go get the attacker
Right.
and went back. That was great. Ezra Miller, like I said before,
And then there's
Cyborg,
right?
and a biotechnology implanting itself onto his body so that he doesn't die. Now he's a cyborg.
I
Like,
thought that was pretty cool.
and that's going to be Ray Fisher. I've never heard of this actor.
He's
ever.
a stage actor. He's in Broadway and stuff.
Oh, cool.
hasn't
So
done
I
a lot of
guess
movies.
this is it's going to be his first thing on screen. So
Right. That's inspired casting. And then
I'm waiting.
and then of course we have Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman in the next Wonder Woman film. Okay, so we can talk about future DC movies because this is the one they had so much money on, and it's making money. Like, we knew this was going to make money, but this is probably going to be one of the biggest movies of the year, and they're going to make sequels regardless because it's making money. It's not going to bomb. So Suicide Squad is coming out later this year. That's David Ayer, That's not quite over Rogue One. Rogue One's, of course, Star Wars Rogue One. That's my most anticipated movie of the year. But Suicide Squad's a very close second. I cannot wait for this movie. And I think, like I said with Zack Snyder, I think he's done a good enough job to set up this universe. I don't think he should do any more movies. I don't think he should do any more
quit.
superhero movies. Sorry, in this universe, like just pass the reins off, because that's one thing Marvel does tremendously well. Is for every other movie they kind of get a new director, and yeah, they had Joss Whedon do 2, they had Jon Favreau do 2, but you see, they get even Christopher Nolan's a tiny bit guilty of this. After a director is just so hung up on the same universe, you lose creativity. So like that's the thing. I think he should take a back seat, be a producer, kind of like a J.J. Abrams on the next few Star Wars movies. He should just produce them, have some creative input, whatever. Or maybe just be in the special effects department. But, like, let someone else do the movies now. Like, I love how they got David Ayer for Suicide Squad. His movies have been great, doing Fury and all that other stuff. I cannot wait for that movie, and I think they set it up decently well with this movie. Like, all those villains. I think that movie's going to be fantastic.
Zack Snyder, he did Legend of the Guardians,
Oh, yeah,
the
Gahul.
Owls of Go. I didn't know that, and also Sucker
Temple Spirit
Punch.
movie. Oh, yeah, that's awful.
It was
Hated
so
Sucker
yeah.
Punch. Again, spectacle, no
okay.
story.
Let's
You
see
know,
it. Yes.
it's a common theme with them. But I think so. Well, what's the DC lineup? You can look that up real quick. I know we have Suicide Squad in August.
We have Suicide Squad,
Wonder Woman next
The
year.
Flash, Aquaman, Wonder Woman 2017, the Justice League Part 1, 2018,
Really?
The
That's getting
Flash,
pushed back.
2018, Aquaman, and 2019, Justice League Part 2. Is there going to be a Cyborg movie or no?
I don't know, but I know he's gonna be in those other movies.
Yes, let me just look it up real quick.
So are we excited for this next movies, Jake?
I mean, I wasn't really that excited for this one. I mean, I said this to you when we saw it too. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of superhero movies, but what I really like what Marvel does and what this is also doing is like they combine the whole universe and all their movies are in the same universe and they have references to everyone else. That's what I like. I think what is it? Civil War. I'm looking at the trailers and they have all of their different characters all in that movie because it's the same universe. I really respect that.
Mm-hmm.
DC's doing that. If they keep doing it and they do it well,
It's a little rushed.
I'll respect it.
It's rushed.
Well, from now on.
The way, I mean, I think it's rushed the way they got all the heroes together.
Mm-hmm.
I think the way they're doing that with the villains though is brilliant. How they're like already all in jail, and they're all brought together by the government to take out what I'm assuming is going to be the Joker. That's a great storyline, first of all, and an awesome way to bring them all together. So, like,
Think any cameos of Batman?
I
Superman?
absolutely think Batman will be in there.
Okay.
I can almost guarantee Batman will be in there.
Can you?
Yeah, I can guarantee he's in there.
Adam West Batman?
Well, Batman's in the trailer. You see Batman
further
on top of like
questions.
the Joker's car in the trailer.
No further questions.
Yeah. All right. What do you think? You're excited for the next DC movies?
I am.
Even coming after this one?
I am, but I will say I've always been more excited about Marvel movies.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No,
And,
Marvel's king.
So next Civil War's coming. Woo!
Cannot wait.
And they don't know how I feel about the new Spider-Man, the cameo they put in the trailer.
Mhm.
So we'll have to see about that.
Yeah, we'll have
And
to see about that.
but I mean, that trailer, we're all hyped up about it because the scene where you see where you see them beating up Iron Man.
Yeah.
And they just oh my gosh.
I'm gonna make a quick comparison real quick. So, Marvel's Daredevil was just put on Netflix. This season 2.
It's great.
Did you watch season 2 yet?
I'm not finished it,
All right, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but it's very similar to the storyline of Batman vs Superman, where you have two guys who just disagree with each other, and they kind of fight each other with the Punisher and Daredevil, Batman and Superman, right?
Okay.
So one thing that they do, of course, you have a TV show, so you have 13 hours instead of 2.5. But what they did in the TV show that was amazing, the second episode of the season is Daredevil and Punisher legit talking the entire episode. They're just talking to each other and then about their disagreements and their ideologies.
Which episode?
The second episode of season 2.
Okay.
The entire episode is them talking and how they differ and stuff like that. We never got that in this movie. And I know we didn't need 45 minutes for them talking, but like they had one confrontation, and that was, the bat is dead, bury it. Tell me, do you bleed? You will. That was it. They only had that. They didn't have any other thing. Like, they should have just had a scene where they're talking about their differences, and then, like, I don't know, and then after that scene, put in the government building exploding and Batman thinking Superman did it, and then they fight. Like, do that. I don't know. It was just lazy storytelling.
That scene, two things. One, do you bleed? And I'm just like, he's not listening to you anymore.
Yeah, he flew away,
He
right?
kind of flew away.
You
Second thing,
will.
thing is,
He's talking to Alfred.
my thing is don't you know how like Superman, whenever he like flies off the ground or he's just going, they always give him like a sonic boom sound. I'm just like, every time he moves, he doesn't get a sonic boom, people. Like in the beginning when he flew in like really fast, and it's like that was a sonic boom. Yeah, he's out, he's booking it. But right now he just flew off. Like that's not he doesn't need it right now.
I gotcha. Any more points about the movie, you guys? I think we might be heading towards the end here.
I do want to reiterate one thing I really did like.
The wonderful music. Well, you know what? I think let's just put our last thoughts into this movie. So, let's rate this movie out of 10. What would you give it, Charles?
Come back to me.
6, I guess.
6 out of 10.
5, 6.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I would give this a 5.9, a 6 out of 10.
I'll do 5.89.
I think it's like okay. It's not horrible. It's not great. There are a lot of problems. I think the pros. I know we talked about a lot of the cons, but I do think there's so much potential. And the potential outweighs the cons for me. But there's so many problems with the movie.
I was disappointed. I was disappointed.
You were disappointed
in watching the movie. And I used to be like maybe a 4.5.
Okay.
But after like reviewing it a little bit, I could go up to like maybe like a 5, a 6.
5 out of 10. 5
and
5.5.
Yeah, maybe 6. Yeah, like
6,
5.5 and 6. Just cause.
So we're all kind of in the general same ballpark.
Yeah.
Of our score here. I don't know if it warrants like a 29 on Rotten Tomatoes. That means like 3 out of 10. If 10 critics go in, 3 out of 10 of them are gonna like it. I don't know.
If you take that long to make the story interesting,
right,
you messed up. Yeah. You have messed up. If you do not grab the audience within, like the first, even within like the first 10 minutes, really, you've messed up. What is it? Chekhov's gun. Like you kind of like left this something there on the table, and we went this entire way thinking something was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, okay, cool, explosion, big, Capitol just exploded, everyone died.
Right.
Nothing. That kind of just like killed it for me. I was like, oh, come on, man. Like you gotta, come on, like show me. Like I need to get into this.
Yeah, you need to put the characters in the story over the action first. You know, even though the action was amazing. So I think we're going to end it right there, you guys. Thanks for watching this episode of the MovieGoers Talk Show. Charles, where can people find you?
You can find me on my Instagram, which I will start doing voiceover monologues and different voices. My Instagram is with Vim and Vigor, and my you can contact me. My email is charlesmcnjr@gmail.com, or
wow.
You know,
you're putting it all out there.
Hey,
okay.
come on.
Social security number?
Yeah, social. What did you put in?
189.
Fax number? Okay.
So we are signing out, Movie Talk Goers.
There you go. Jake, where can people find you?
My house.
Okay. Where's that address?
That is 7. No.
Oh, jeez. We'll put its address in the comments section.
I got my YouTube channel, which is just Jake Siegelbaum.
Jake Siegelbaum.
Yeah.
You put up those 5-second, 10-second.
Oh no, I just put up a 3-second. They're getting shorter.
3-second videos. Yeah, he's very funny. And you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, all the parts of the interwebs, and of course the Ryan Nilsen and the Moviegoers YouTube channels. Thanks for watching this episode and listening to this episode of the Moviegoers podcast. Charles,